national NGOs, non-governmental organizations that were seeking funding from the St. Petersburg Council, the only person that worked for Sobchak that didn't take bribes was Putin. The only person that actually sat down and listened to what they had to say and had intelligent answers or questions to their proposals was Vladimir Putin. And Vladimir Putin operated that way throughout his time with Yeltsin, and Yeltsin picked him because he was the one guy he could trust, that when they shook his hand and said, "I won't prosecute you, I will ensure that your family is safe," Putin lived up to his word. But Putin also turned around and said, "We're changing Russia." And the way he was changing Russia wasn't to the liking of the United States. And we had been trying for some time to dissuade him of this. George W. Bush famously invited Putin to the United States, where he looked in his eyes and he could get the measure of his soul. Apparently, George W. Bush isn't very good at looking into souls, because if he thought he saw a compliant Russian, he didn't. He saw a Russian who was determined to stand up to American overreach. And when Obama came in, because this comes down to Obama, basically. The United States had a policy of expanding NATO for some time. We had that policy since we lied to Gorbachev back in 1991. But in 2008, while Bush was still president, NATO formally invited Ukraine to join. And this was a policy inherited by the Obama White House. The advisor for Obama at the time was a guy named Michael McFaul. Michael McFaul was a Stanford professor who has written extensively criticizing Putin, was head of the Russian desk at the National Security Council. And he advised Obama to embrace a policy of regime change. Now you're going to say, wait a minute, Scott, regime change, that's not anywhere in the language, at least not the language that's available to the public. You're right. They called it the reset, the Russian reset. But the reset was about empowering Dmitry Medvedev, former prime minister who became